The economy looks strong everywhere, except inside exhausted people quietly working through midnight every evening. Productivity supposedly exploded during recent decades, yet ordinary workers strangely feel increasingly financially cornered today. Paychecks grew slower while software accelerated faster, creating one of modern capitalism's strangest contradictions worldwide. Americans produce more wealth hourly than previous generations ever imagined possible before computers existed everywhere. Yet millions still juggle multiple jobs, endless notifications, unstable schedules, and permanently delayed personal lives. This contradiction hides beneath cheerful headlines celebrating innovation, efficiency, quarterly growth, and booming stock markets everywhere. The numbers look incredible until ordinary people explain how permanently tired they suddenly became after success. Modern economies promised technology would reduce workloads while increasing prosperity for everyone participating within productive markets worldwide. Instead, smartphones transformed every quiet moment into potential unpaid labor disguised as permanent connectivity everywhere. Work escaped offices completely, colonizing kitchens, bedrooms, vacations, weekends, and even late-night family dinners silently afterward. Managers once measured productivity using factory output, visible machinery, and clearly defined working hours daily. Today, productivity means answering emails faster while attending virtual meetings nobody actually remembers afterward anyway. The average office worker constantly multitasks, yet completes fewer meaningful tasks requiring uninterrupted concentration each day. Attention became fragmented because digital tools optimized responsiveness rather than thoughtful, deep, productive work across industries. Workers remain technically available constantly, but mentally exhausted before completing truly valuable assignments every afternoon. This exhaustion rarely appears inside economic statistics celebrating higher efficiency and rising national output growth figures. GDP keeps climbing while energy levels collapse quietly beneath fluorescent lighting and glowing smartphone screens everywhere. That disconnect explains why prosperous economies increasingly produce anxious, burned out, financially insecure populations despite technological advancement globally. People sense something feels fundamentally wrong, even while economists confidently celebrate productivity improvements and modernization benefits globally. The paradox begins with one deceptively simple question nobody seriously asks during optimistic economic conversations anymore. If productivity keeps rising dramatically, why are ordinary workers struggling harder than previous generations before them? The answer begins during the late 1970s, when computers entered mainstream workplaces across developed economies globally. Executives imagined automation removing repetitive labor, while employees gained flexibility, leisure, and higher wages afterward universally. Initially, parts of that prediction actually happened across manufacturing, logistics, communications, and financial industries simultaneously worldwide. Factories produced more goods faster, while businesses reduced operating costs using increasingly sophisticated software systems globally. Corporate profits expanded rapidly because technology multiplied worker output without proportionally increasing labor expenses anymore worldwide. That seemed reasonable initially because productivity gains historically translated into stronger middle-class living standards nationally afterward. For decades, rising productivity and rising wages moved almost perfectly throughout industrialized capitalist economies globally. Then, something quietly changed around the late 1970s without attracting immediate widespread public attention nationally afterward. Productivity continued climbing steadily upward, while wage growth mysteriously slowed for ordinary workers across industries everywhere. The economy kept generating more value, but workers captured increasingly smaller percentages from expansion afterward nationally. That separation became one of modern economics' defining shifts, although surprisingly few discuss it openly today.
Executives, shareholders, and asset owners accumulated extraordinary wealth, while median incomes barely maintained purchasing power afterward nationally. Technology amplified output efficiently, yet the financial rewards flowed unevenly towards capital instead of labor increasingly. Amazon warehouses perfectly illustrate this transformation through algorithms measuring human movement almost second by second continuously inside facilities. Workers scan products faster than ever before, guided constantly by invisible optimization systems monitoring performance metrics. Every saved second increases efficiency, although employees often describe feeling like exhausted robotic extensions afterward. The system values measurable output intensely, while ignoring invisible human costs accumulating quietly beneath reported productivity improvements publicly. Burnout, stress, sleep deprivation, and chronic anxiety rarely appear inside quarterly earnings presentations for shareholders publicly. Yet those hidden costs increasingly define modern work experiences across both physical and digital industries everywhere today. The irony becomes almost absurd when productivity tools themselves generate entirely new categories of unpaid labor daily. Slack messages, calendar invitations, software updates, and endless notifications consume enormous psychological energy every afternoon, constantly. Workers spend hours coordinating work instead of actually completing meaningful, productive assignments requiring sustained concentration anymore. Meetings multiplied because digital scheduling removed friction previously limiting unnecessary conversations inside organizations nationwide before computers. Now, entire afternoons disappear beneath virtual calls where participants quietly answer unrelated emails simultaneously during discussions. The appearance of constant productivity often matters more than measurable, valuable output within competitive corporate cultures today. Employees feel pressured performing busyness publicly because visibility increasingly influences promotions and perceived commitment levels internally today.
Being unavailable, even briefly, sometimes appears suspicious inside hyper-connected workplaces expecting immediate digital responsiveness constantly today.
This creates strange economic theater where everyone looks active, while genuine productivity quietly deteriorates underneath operations nationally. People finish exhausted daily without remembering what meaningful achievement actually consumed their limited energy reserves afterward.
Meanwhile, housing, healthcare, childcare, and education costs climbed dramatically faster than average wage growth nationally afterward. Workers needed additional income simply maintaining lifestyles previous generations achieved through single stable careers before globalization accelerated. That financial pressure pushed millions toward overtime, side hustles, freelance contracts, and permanently flexible employment arrangements nationally. The modern economy praises flexibility enthusiastically, although workers often experience flexibility as permanent economic uncertainty instead nowadays. Gig platforms transformed spare time into monetizable labor opportunities available continuously through smartphone applications everywhere today. Driving passengers, delivering meals, renting spare rooms, and completing microtasks became normalized supplemental income strategies nationally. Technology monetized previously unproductive hours, converting downtime itself into economic opportunity for platforms and investors globally. The boundary separating work from personal life gradually dissolved beneath convenience, efficiency, and entrepreneurial branding campaigns everywhere. People stopped fully resting because every idle moment suddenly carried potential financial value within platform economies today. That shift sounds empowering theoretically until exhaustion becomes the defining emotional experience across modern working populations globally. The pandemic accelerated these trends dramatically while exposing uncomfortable weaknesses hiding beneath supposedly efficient economic systems nationally. Remote work eliminated commuting, yet many employees reported working longer hours than previously before lockdown started.
Home became office space instantly, removing physical separation between labor, rest, relationships, and personal recovery completely afterward, nationally. Bosses gained unprecedented digital visibility into employee behavior through tracking software monitoring keyboard activity remotely afterward, nationally. Productivity surveillance expanded quietly because uncertainty encouraged management demanding measurable proof of constant engagement everywhere afterward. Employees answered messages earlier mornings and later nights because boundaries disappeared almost completely during remote employment afterward. The economy survived impressively, yet countless individuals experienced psychological fatigue unlike anything previously encountered before globally. Burnout entered mainstream conversation because millions simultaneously realized modern work structures felt fundamentally unsustainable afterward, nationally today. Still, stock markets soared higher while corporations celebrated resilience, efficiency, and record profitability throughout economic recovery afterward. The contradiction deepened further because financial success increasingly depended upon squeezing more output from exhausted workers continually. Artificial intelligence now promises another revolutionary productivity boom, potentially transforming nearly every professional industry worldwide soon. Executives predict automation will eliminate repetitive tasks, increase efficiency, and unlock extraordinary economic growth rates globally. Those predictions sound remarkably similar to earlier technological promises repeated throughout previous economic revolutions historically before today. The uncomfortable question remains painfully unresolved despite decades of innovation and rising national productivity statistics globally. Who actually benefits financially when technology dramatically increases productivity across entire economies and labor markets simultaneously? If history repeats itself, workers may produce significantly more value without receiving proportional financial rewards afterward again. Already, many professionals use artificial intelligence tools, increasing output expectations faster than compensation growth rates nationally today. Employees complete assignments quicker, so organizations simply assign additional responsibilities without increasing staffing levels afterward frequently. Efficiency gains often become baseline expectations rather than opportunities reducing workload or improving personal well-being meaningfully afterward. Technology keeps raising productive capacity while human attention, energy, and emotional resilience remain biologically limited forever anyway. That imbalance creates profound tension between economic systems demanding infinite growth and humans requiring actual recovery periods afterward. The market rewards scalability aggressively because investors prioritize expanding output without proportionally expanding labor costs anymore worldwide today. Workers become expensive variables businesses constantly attempt minimizing through automation, outsourcing, and algorithmic management systems globally today. Yet economies still fundamentally depend upon human consumers possessing time, stability, and disposable income for spending nationally. That creates another strange contradiction hiding beneath modern productivity narratives celebrated constantly across financial media channels worldwide today. People must work intensely producing economic growth while simultaneously remaining energetic enough consuming generated products afterward nationally. Exhausted populations eventually spend differently, think differently, vote differently, and psychologically experience society differently altogether nationally. Chronic overwork reshapes relationships, fertility rates, mental health trends, and long-term social stability quietly over decades globally. Some economists call this late-stage efficiency, where optimization continues despite increasingly obvious diminishing human returns everywhere today. The machine keeps accelerating because slowing down threatens profits, valuations, and political confidence within financial markets globally. Meanwhile, productivity statistics remain politically useful because they suggest economies function efficiently despite growing public dissatisfaction everywhere. Politicians celebrate job creation while employees schedule therapy appointments between endless virtual meetings during lunch breaks.
Companies advertise wellness initiatives, while employees schedule therapy appointments between endless virtual meetings during lunch breaks.
The language surrounding work became strangely therapeutic because economic pressure increasingly produces emotional and psychological consequences nationally today. Terms like burnout, quiet quitting, hustle culture, and work-life balance suddenly dominate mainstream conversations everywhere today. These phrases describe deeper structural tensions hiding beneath supposedly successful modern economic systems operating globally today afterward. Productivity itself stopped feeling empowering because people increasingly associate efficiency with intensified pressure and reduced autonomy instead. The future may deliver astonishing technological abundance alongside populations feeling permanently rushed, distracted, and financially insecure simultaneously. The economy could continue booming statistically while ordinary people experience prosperity as something strangely distant and invisible simultaneously. If productivity keeps rising endlessly, why does modern life increasingly feel like nobody actually gains freedom anymore?